good morning to everyone, and welcome to our webinar. But I'd like to say it's some sort of like our formal launch session for our newest service offering from Prosperon. So I know it's a very busy period of time with all people going on holidays, last minute holidays, but I could see that you've actually taken the time to attend and join us today. So we really thank you for your the time that you're extended for us. So I'm joined today by my colleague Marley. Hey Marley, good afternoon, good morning.
Good morning, Mon. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. So my name is Juan, and I'm the sales manager here at Prosperon Networks, and Marley is actually our pre-sales manager who will be joining me today to officially launch our newest offering. So thanks, Marley, for joining me today. Okay, so as I've said earlier, this particular webinar for today, or should I say, our launch session, is going to be quite different from the previous session. So we're going to be aiming to actually finish the webinar in about 30 or 45 minutes to cover the agenda. So firstly, we're going to be, as customary, talking about a little bit of introduction about Prosperon, who we are, what we do. Of course, many of you already know about us, but this is for the benefit of some of you who are joining us for the first time today. And then I'll talk about our journey over the years and how we've evolved from 15 years ago to now we're launching, we're trying to continuously innovate our offerings, putting the customers in priority and at the heart of everything that we do. And then Marley, I'll be handing it over to Marley to talk about this new offering from us, who will benefit it, and of course we'll have the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And I think, and I hope everyone would be participative in asking questions. There will also be some poll questions throughout the duration of the session. So please participate, because that would be useful in us in identifying where we can actually help you going forward. Okay. And then, just as a caveat, because this is a new offering for us, this is all the information that we're sharing right now are subject to change and will be refined as we go through with our MSP services offering. Okay. So, as customary, we'll start first our session for today with the poll question, which is which of the below have you ever been unable to find time for? Angelo, if you can pull in the screen for the questions. There's a bit of a delay, so I think, yeah. So we'll just wait for a few minutes, a few seconds while we're pulling in the results. Are the results there now? Okay,
I think we have about 50% if you want to just give it another.
exactly. Yeah. So I think more. I'm looking at the results right now, and it seemed like a big 58% is actually about implementation of the new features, which is a very good indication, Marley, because I think that's one of the main features of one of the areas where we could help them in terms of the MSP services.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Hopefully, with the results of this poll, we can see the areas where the MSP will really be able to help people out and benefit their business going forward.
Yeah. So do we have the results now? We can show up to the screen.
Yep, wonderful. So I can see that actually, possibly as expected, we have actually about 46% of people saying all of the
All
above.
of the above. Yeah, that's right.
Which is exactly what we expect, because SolarWinds is such a big product. There are so many different areas of it, and managing it all can be really difficult, and especially when you have other things on your plate at all times.
Exactly, and I think that's putting on my account manager and sales manager hat. Talking to customers. That's always been one of the all these areas are the really the pain points of my customers. So that's a good indication. So thank you so much, guys, for joining our poll. So now I move over to my next slide, which is actually a very quick introduction of Prosperon. So for many of you who knows us, we've been a SolarWinds partner for over 15 years, helping customers make the most out of their investment in SolarWinds. So perhaps you may be an existing customer looking to further optimize or enhance your current SolarWinds platform, or a new customer, a new SolarWinds customer. So Prosperon is there to actually help you. So we're also very proud of the fact that we partnered. We are the first UK partner for NetBrain, which is the network automation platform solution, which provides you with that improved end-to-end visibility and automation. Okay, so one of the things that we are very proud, despite a very I would say challenging year last year with the pandemic and everything, working from home and not being able to see each other, is that in fact we've been very busy, which is a good thing. So we've delivered an outstanding 900 days of professional services to our customers. So I think even some of the attendees have actually been part of this 900 days worth of professional services. So again, many thanks and thank you for that. Also, with the security incident that happened, you are all aware, late last year. So that actually increased also, the number of support cases that we've actually helped resolve with our customers via our eight SolarWinds certified engineers, which some of them are even security cleared, who can work in security sensitive projects. But I think over the years, one of the things that we're really proud of as well within Prosperon is our ability is the award that we actually got from our vendor itself, which is SolarWinds, the Technical Excellence Award, which is a true testament of our commitment to excellence and quality in terms of delivering our projects. We are also a very active contributor to THWAC. Two of our members of our team are actually THWAC MVPs, and I myself is also a user of THWAC. So I hope everyone is also leveraging on this online community forum from SolarWinds. This next slide shows you a snapshot of our professional services. So, that I've said earlier, we've been very busy the past few years and the past year, and these are mainly because of these professional services that we offer. So, as I've said earlier, if you're looking to do some optimization and enhancement of your current SolarWinds platforms, we provide consultancy, implementation, and even third-party integrations when you're looking to expand the monitoring capabilities of SolarWinds via third-party solutions. And one of the things also that we're very keen to impart to our customers is that knowledge share sessions. So we run formal and informal courses throughout the year, making sure that we also equip and transfer knowledge to our customers so that they will be able to maintain and provide enhancements to their platform going forward. Part of the service that we deliver, if you are actually on maintenance contract with Prosperon, is the support and also the annual health checks of your platform, which provides you with that visibility and understanding of where you are in terms of your SolarWinds estate. But for this session today, I think it's very good to look back into where have we been so far. 15 years ago, we started as a company in 2006, a value-added reseller with an ethos, with a vision of providing or helping our customers deliver that visibility and efficiency within their teams. So with that, we've evolved by providing our customers with our professional services and support, working with our customers to get the most out of their SolarWinds investment, ensuring that the platform is stable and meeting the business requirements, and also being used proactively. Because I think the key word there is proactively, because it's a monitoring tool. And I think with our success with our professional services, delivering professional services with our direct customers, comes our relationship expanding with outside of the UK. We have customers in EMEA, and also the rest of the world, and also working with the channels, working with their customers to deliver professional services. And I think in 2019, it's also a very pivotal year for us because that's when we formally sealed our partnership with NetBrain, which I've said earlier is a network automation platform, which we feel that is really complementary to SolarWinds because of its ability to inject data coming from SolarWinds to NetBrain and providing you with that end-to-end visibility. But I think I'm also very proud that, as I've said earlier, despite a very challenging year, we continuously innovate. Hence, we are formally launching our MSP services this year. And if you look at our journey, it's always about putting the customer's interest at the heart of everything that we do. Hence, all of these services being provided to you. But I think it's all about also listening to you guys. We some of you have been our customers for 5, 10 years, and I think that's a true testament of us listening and collaborating with you and providing you with solutions to your pain points, to your business challenges, to enable you to actually continuously improve. So that is the messaging that we'd like to take in for this journey. And I think it's just the beginning. We continuously improve, and we are very excited to be launching these MSP services today. So with that being said, I'll be handing it over to my colleague Marley, who will be talking in detail about the missing piece, which are the MSP services. So Marley, I'll hand it over to you now.
Yep, thank you so much, Mon. Um, So as you saw for the title of this webinar, we called it Completing Your Puzzle. And that's why we're calling MSP the missing piece. And in fact, even missing piece is MSP itself. It is a perfect analogy for what we're doing here. So we have previously offered products that were great for the customers, but we always try to do that continual service improvement. So areas that we've noticed possibly are gaps in the requirements and what we can offer, we're trying to close those gaps with our MSP service to create that perfect combination of services that work for any requirements. Mon, if you could just move to the next slide for me. So let's look at the services we currently offer and some of the gaps in the offerings on them. So professional services is probably our main services we offer at the moment. So the benefits of professional services is you get this focused time with an engineer. The engineer is either going to be on site or it's going to be with you for a significant period of time. And in that time, you can essentially extract all the information you need from them. You have somebody on site being able to ask questions to and get feedback from. And obviously, you can have these quite large scopes to projects. And we offer projects that are 5, 10, 30, 60 days now to benefit the customers and implement the exact solutions that they need. But with that, unfortunately, comes some downsides. It can't really be booked at short notice because of all the requirements needed. The customer needs to get requirements. We need to get requirements together. There are a certain level of prerequisites that we need to do. That's going to make the process just a little bit slower. And generally, from our side, we notice that customers who have a large time between their engagements generally have a worse relationship with SolarWinds because we don't want to just go in and configure stuff and then disappear for another year. We want to make sure that everything we do, we get regular feedback and regular ways to tweak those settings to make sure it's working perfectly for you, even when your business requirements change.
And I think it's been very evident, Marley, the past few months we're in. We are also struggling in a way in terms of booking the schedules and professionals with our professional services projects, right? So I think with an organization having a dedicated MSP time or a service subscription, that would really alleviate some of the pain points. Yeah, that's good.
Right, exactly. So next one for me.
Yep.
Perfect. And the other service you may have interacted with if you are a customer of us already is our support. So our support has, lots of great reviews. We work on resolving 98% of cases internally, with the other cases being raised to the vendor for bug reports, for example. And the benefits of the support is that you have that regular touch point with the Prosperon engineers. If you have a question, it doesn't have to go through a whole process of validation and qualification. You can just ask a question through email or through the phone and get the answer on the same day. You can focus on those smaller pieces of work, but at the same time, that itself is a limitation. The support, because it's you can only fit so much into the email or so much into a single phone call, that generally the scope of it is smaller, or you just want to ask for some general advice on supporting something. But the biggest downside to support is that it's reactive. We have to wait for you to tell us what's wrong, or for you to tell us what you need help with before we can help. Once we have that information from you, obviously we're going to do everything we can to get that resolved for you. But that can sometimes be the slowest part of it itself, is actually reacting to things. So next slide for me, please. Do you have any questions? So where does managed services fit into that? Well, we try to take the negative parts of or the holes of the other two services and patch them ourselves. So managed services is great because the scope can be large or small depending on your requirements. If you want more time with an engineer during the year or less time, that's absolutely fine. The biggest thing is that it allows proactive work to take place. Because we have more time on the platform, because we're monitoring the platform for you, we can actually suggest things before they even become a problem. Because we're working with you on projects you may be doing, we can suggest things in those meetings as we go through. Regular touch points ensure the constant improvement. If you're not waiting for all of your issues to kind of group together before you get in touch with us, you can just handle small things as and when they come up, and we can offer those constant feedback loops that are going to be beneficial for you. And the main thing is going to be this kind of ad hoc booking. So being able to book sessions when it works for you, rather than having to fit it around the engineer timing and your own team timing. If you just have an hour or two every week just to kind of fit in a session, that works out fantastic for managed services. So we do understand you're very busy. We want to make sure we can fit around your busy schedules. So that is where the managed service comes in and kind of fills in those gaps and completes the puzzle for our SolarWinds offerings here. You want to move to the next slide, please? So we had three major goals when it came to MSP. We wanted customers to have this platform administration going forward, that their configurations are always aligned to your business requirements. They're not lagging behind. That is something we want to avoid. And with the regular professional services right now, it could be 6 months, a year before you actually get your business requirements met. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, you're already behind again as your business moves on. We want to make sure that platform upgrades are done on time, and that you're getting the benefits out of those upgrades. Security upgrades are obviously key for getting for avoiding compromises, or for making sure that you are compliant to certain security policies. And feature upgrades are going to give you that wealth of information across newer features. For example, if you're doing a switch refresh, if you're putting in brand new models of switches, you want to make sure that SolarWinds can support it, and you do that by making sure the platforms are upgraded. And finally, the third thing to round this out was going to be performance monitoring. As we mentioned in the poll previously, 31% of you said that resolving poor performance was a really big part of your platform. Especially if you're having your directors or your wider staff using SolarWinds, it's not a very good look if it's too slow to respond. And if you're too slow to respond, you're not going to be able to respond to those critical things. So performance monitoring is our third part of these goals. So how are we going to resolve those? Let's look at the three main sides of MSP. Notice everything's in threes at the moment. It is the magic number, and we're talking about all these three different sections of how things can go. So MSP is our third service, and for SolarWinds, and there'll be three separate modules essentially that make up the whole of the MSP service. The first one is simply platform upgrades. This is going to be working with your team to make sure that upgrades are done on time, that planning of downtime, change requests, system requirements, upgrade paths, whatever version you're on, we can get you to the newest and we can get those things running. The other thing is going to be an introduction of these new features. So just having the upgrade done doesn't really clue you into what can be done with those upgrades. And with SolarWinds and all the different modules and all the different release notes that come out, making sure that you get that introduction to those new features is going to be key to, again, bringing those requirements through.
So
No, this isn't,
just
sorry, go on, Mon.
just really talking about this particular section upgrade,
Mhm.
Marley, I'm actually curious to know. So what happens actually if an upgrade fails when they're actually on this particular service subscription?
Sure, of course. So obviously, our engineers are knowledgeable for getting upgrades completed.
Hmm.
Upgrades can occasionally have small changes that need to be done to the
Hmm.
database. These things generally, the more time we have with your company, the more we can actually resolve those before they even come up. But obviously,
Hmm.
in the occasion that you would have those issues, then we would obviously work with our internal support team as well, who are dedicated to supporting things like failed upgrades or configuration problems. And in the worst case scenario, obviously we have that direct link to SolarWinds. We work very closely with them, so we can get the developer sort of know-how onto issues if they do come up. So generally, you're going to have that quicker response to failed upgrades that currently could take quite a lot of downtime from your system.
Thank you.
No problem. Next slide, please. So the second part of this MSP is going to be our proactive maintenance. This is what I said about before, where it's going to be making sure that your platform is performing well, that there's no issues that are maybe not affecting you right now, but based on the changes to your requirements, things like capacity issues can come up quite often, where SolarWinds was working perfectly when it was first installed, but now it's a year later and you've doubled the amount of things on the platform. So capacity issues can come in and cause performance problems. So by proactively monitoring your Orion servers, we can make sure that you are getting regular reports on the performance, on sort of capacity management. If you're thinking of adding devices based on projects, we can advise on those types of things. And generally, we find that downtime events, so SolarWinds downtime, is the majority caused by lack of maintenance. So not clearing out log files, not making sure that configurations are set to delete themselves, retention settings being too high can cause database problems. All those things can be renewed and checked regularly. This is here to sort of complement our health check that we already do as
Yeah.
well. We will essentially be doing more regular health checks. If you have your renewal with us, you already get that annual one as part of the MSP. That will be more regular.
That's a good thing you pointed that out, Marley, because putting on again my account manager hat, I've worked very closely with my customers, and annually, I always have that time of the year, and I have to discuss about when do you actually want to have your health check. So I think
Sure.
with them having this proactive maintenance service with them, it's more of like upping up a bit. What actually is included within the annual maintenance contract, so this is
Mm.
going to be a bit more comprehensive, I would assume, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And as part of the proactive maintenance, we have we have our current support team, which deal with our renewal customers, but we'll also have a dedicated MSP support team, which will be handling the proactive maintenance. So you'll have that engineer level, SEP qualified person working on your
Hmm.
platform and making sure those things are running smoothly.
Great.
And then rounding out these three ones on the next slide is, I guess, what most people think of when they think of managed services. This is going to be the Orion Administrator. So we're going to do sort of managing all of your features for you. So implementing dashboards, alerts, reports, anything that is required in terms of getting the platform suitable for your business needs. Again, what we said before is that customers generally engage with us once or twice a year, and by that time, the business has already moved on. SolarWinds should be as adaptive to new changes as your business is, and unfortunately, generally the problem with that is you just don't have enough time to implement
Mm-hmm.
these things. You just don't have enough time in your day. You don't want to work overtime. You just want SolarWinds to work. And as part of that, this Orion Administrator is going to be a key part of making sure that all of your dashboards alerts and you can actually respond to changes really quickly. Obviously, we had a massive change in the last 2 years to the way that people work in the in the industry with working from home. And I was working on the support desk here at Prosperon when obviously we started working from home, and there was lots of questions about configuring VPNs for remote users and all this stuff, different stuff for flexible working. As part of the Orion Administrator, that would be key as how we can help respond to those big events as well.
And I think it's that quickly adapting to that change, right? Because I think when the pandemic hit us, and then suddenly we're all working from home, we were like, a lot of us are actually unprepared on the newer ways or setup of working, isn't it?
Exactly, and the sort of the end users, obviously had a lot of adapting to do,
Yeah,
but IT administrators had it all to do centrally as well. They had
yeah,
to manage
exactly.
everyone's working, make sure that their areas that maybe hadn't seen so much capacity before, things like your VPNs, that maybe saw 10 users per day, is now seeing 300-400% more
Yeah,
users. So being able to move the focus of the business and have SolarWinds kind of match that, it is key. And again, you guys, the engineers that are there that already got their work cut out for them, a lot of them are wearing many different hats every day, and
mhm,
we want to make sure we can take one of those things off. Just having an extra pair of hands when environmental issue comes in is just really
exactly,
beneficial. Somebody who is an
exactly.
expert at SolarWinds. And the way this will work essentially is you'll have this pool of available time, and you can just raise requests whenever you need them. Again, if it's just half an hour or an hour here or there to do a particular alert or report, and feedback how things are working, that's the way that we envision this Orion Administrator to be working.
Yep.
If you want to move on just to the next slide, Mon, we're next going to talk about, we talked about a little bit before about how these things will work and what sort of technical examples, but let's talk about generally who in the company is going to benefit from these. And some of these may be, as you're listening to myself talking, you may say, oh, that's me. That's our company. That's the issues that we've worked with and had problems with before. So hopefully, everyone in the audience will at least have some area where they go, yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, or relate to that, or yeah, that's me.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll move to the first one, and that's going to be small network teams. So, like I said, at the moment, hiring in IT can be quite hard as well. So teams are really being pushed to the limits of how much they can handle. Um, SolarWinds is always going to be just a single part of your day. We live and breathe SolarWinds 24/7, and it's important to have somebody who is an expert on there. So taking that away from your team allows them to free up areas to do things like internal projects, actual resolutions of problems that SolarWinds throws out. And again, these are the teams that we see mostly that can't keep up with business requirements and priorities. Again, with COVID, if you're already overwhelmed with your work and then something big comes in, a disaster recovery scenario or COVID, or even just a new project, it's going to take a lot out of you. So having an extra member of your team is going to be really beneficial. And also, of course, newest features and missing out on features that may be beneficial to you. Again, having an expert there to instead of have to spend hours and hours researching what's beneficial for you, just being able to answer a very quick question and get a very detailed answer would be really beneficial. So the next one, please. So the second kind of scenario we see as being beneficial for is security teams. So every company has a security team. Some companies are lucky to have a dedicated security team, but everyone should be thinking about security at all times. As part of that, making sure updates are installed quickly and efficiently is the big one. Nobody wants an update to take a long time. Even worse if it fails or there's a lot of prerequisites need to be brought in before you can actually have the upgrade done. So we can handle all of that. We can handle all the planning to make sure that those feature updates are done. Also, hardening of the platform. Obviously, we're aware that unfortunately there was that compromise at the end of 2020. From that, SolarWinds has brought out they've done a really good job of bringing out lots of recommendations for hardening the platform to hopefully avoid any of these security issues in the future. So hardening is something that can change very quickly as the landscape changes, and making sure that you have someone on board to make those changes as you go is going to be beneficial as well. Similarly, configuration of your alerts and your reports, making sure that you have that visibility over security issues and that everything is confirmed that it's working to compliance regulations is key. And finally, that these processes can be followed and audited, for example. So the final one, and this is, I guess, where a lot of people may already have a stake in, is what is SolarWinds? SolarWinds is a monitoring platform, and you can't monitor stuff if SolarWinds itself isn't working. So if your SolarWinds isn't working properly, if it's too slow, if there are configurations that just don't give you visibility, you're not going to be able to monitor your critical systems properly. So in case of this, we want to make sure that it's running 24/7, the best performance and the best configurations, and giving you the information that you need. This is where it comes in again, proactive changes, not just reacting to something not working properly. Sometimes when something's happened, it's too late. If a node goes down and you don't hear about it until the next day, that's a problem. So you need someone who can respond to those or even preempt those and make sure that you're not missing out on anything. And again, having somebody regularly on your platform who knows SolarWinds, who knows the best practices and keeps up with them can keep that going. So there are the three sort of big teams that we expect to see benefiting from this MSP service. Obviously, anyone who interacts with SolarWinds could be beneficial to this.
Correct. And I think, and we'll have that discussion later on, Marley, in terms of, what are the possible next steps for us. But I think these are the teams that we feel would greatly benefit. But of course, across the business, every organization has a unique structure. So, but I think we have to go into what are the pain points and how we can provide solutions via our MSP services. And we're open to have those discussions.
Right, of course. And the reason we've split out the MSP into those different areas is so we can, adapt to what customers require.
Correct. Yeah, I
Some
agree.
customers are very comfortable with making configuration changes, but when it comes to
Maturity, yes.
updates, they're very scared of making changes to the back end. Other customers are completely different. They really just care about getting the sort of the configuration done, and they can handle sort of all the back end stuff. So every customer is different, and by splitting out MSP, obviously we recommend all three of them because they're going to give you the full
Exactly.
picture. They're going to give you the full usability. But for customers who don't need all of them, you can pick and choose and have those sort of tailored to your needs.
Agree.
So I think the next one is just going to be our future. I think Mon, are you taking this one again, or is this going to be myself?
That's yourself.
I can take it. Yeah. So what do we envision a platform that has been running with MSP for a while to look like? Well, we imagine that network staff are going to be less stressed. They're going to be able to have more time to fix network issues based on the information given by SolarWinds and not have to spend all their time fixing SolarWinds itself or making changes to the backends of SolarWinds. It should be a supportive platform rather than a time sink. We recommend that SolarWinds can be quickly configured to provide all the visibility, not just to the operations team or the network team or the technical team, but management as well. This is a big thing that IT departments really want to show their worth. They want to show their value to the company, and that can be quite difficult if you don't interact with the right people. So making sure that the IT directors and IT management have KPI reports all set up and that they're getting the right visibility over the network as a whole is going to be really beneficial. When you are doing big projects, we've talked about things like switch refreshers, but other common projects happening at the moment are things like moving all of your services to the cloud. So moving from on-premise to cloud is a big thing, especially with servers. You want to make sure that SolarWinds isn't just another thing you have to do at the end. If you've already spent months on a project, you don't want to have to spend more months then configuring SolarWinds to match those requirements. So the idea is that SolarWinds would be configured in parallel with your other projects. Your network engineers can get on with the stuff that they're really good at, and our engineers can get on the stuff that they're really good at. And at the end, we have this full, complete picture of the finished project with all the visibility regularly gone. Again, platform security. We envisage that you guys would have better understanding of your security issues across your platform and also across your environment in general. By pulling in information about security to the latest best practices, we can make sure that you can respond to security issues, not just in SolarWinds, but in your entire environment as well. And finally, hopefully we don't have another thing like COVID that's disruptive, but these disruptive things can come through all the time. It might not be COVID, it might be a disaster recovery scenario. It could be that you have major issues to your WAN links or to your internet access. Those things need to be quickly responded to make sure that the business still has visibility in the right places. And unfortunately, when in a critical situation like that, all your staff are going to be focused on getting the problem resolved. They're not going to be focused on how can we leverage SolarWinds to help us resolve that. So quicker response time to those big issues. This is kind of how we envisage the future. Obviously, it's a very bright future, and we are very early on in the process here. So we can really see the benefits for MSP for a lot of companies in any form, any shape or form, and we see that the future can be quite bright with MSP.
Cool. So thank you so much, Marley,
You're welcome.
for the information that you've shared today. It's definitely is a very it's a teaser. So it's a launch session for us today. So
Sure.
if you have any if you have any questions, the attendees for today, you can reach out to us later on. But I think I'll just come in to summarize what you've shared before we move into the poll questions and also the Q&A. The title for today is actually filling in that puzzle, and I think it's very applicable because of what Marley had shared with you today. But I'd like to share that it can be summarized into three main key points why Prosperon actually has decided to deliver this new service to our customers. Number one is actually value. So we want to be able to make sure that customers like you um, leverage on the capabilities of SolarWinds to be able to meet the demands of your business. It's actually us providing you with an extra pair of hands, an extended team to be able to make sure that you have a healthy and fully optimized monitoring platform. And then the second one is, it has always been the case. Mon, having my discussions with our customers, they would always tell me, Mon, we want to work with you to be able to do this particular project. We just don't have the time and the resources. We have so many projects in our plate. And I think it's by providing that extra pair of hands to provide you with more capabilities to be able to proactively monitor the status of your platform, reporting some potential issues and improvements on the functionality. That's already a great start with your SolarWinds journey. And I think the last one would be keeping you up to date, with what the latest version of the tools, and making sure that you're actually assisted during upgrades, which for some organizations is a very critical and tedious process. So as I've said earlier, these are the key three things that we wanted to offer to our customer: the value, the being able to extend an extra pair of hands by the resources, and of course, moving you from that reactive stage to a more proactive stage during your SolarWinds maturity and journey. So, with that being said, before we move into our next to our Q&A, we're gonna have our next poll for today. So having seen a teaser or of the MSP services, out of the three MSP areas, which do you think sounds most interesting to you and your business? I'm excited to see the poll results, Marley, for this one.
Yeah, me too. I'm banking on the Orion Administrator being very, very popular.
Or all of three. Okay. By the way, guys, whilst we're waiting for the results of the poll, you may be able to send your questions as well via the chat, the question panel on your screen. I could see some results now, Marley, in terms of the responses. Is the results up now, Marley? Okay. Wow.
Wonderful.
Top, top, top is actually the proactive maintenance at 40%, which is, yeah, quite expected. And then coming in at 33% a second is all of the above, which is a good thing. And then followed by the Orion Administrator service and the Orion upgrade service. Any thoughts, Marley?
Yeah, well, I'm really happy that obviously everyone can see the benefit of sort of all three of them together. Obviously, it sounds like there maybe some people who want to make sure that SolarWinds has that uptime, as much as possible, but that all of the above it is a great thing to see
Yeah.
because we have designed this product to be fully functional with all three modules. We know that customers may pick and choose, but that is, ultimately going to give you a sort of diminished service because, there will be certain areas where you don't have that help. So all of the above is kind of where we're going to be pushing, as much as we can because that's going to give you the most value.
Okay. So I think before we move into the Q&A, whilst we're waiting for the questions to come in, I'm just going to take this opportunity to actually, how do you actually get started? I know this is a new service, and perhaps some of your your account managers have reached out to you already. But I think there are three key things that you can do. Is one is there's a bunch of information that's actually available within our MSP page under our website. So I'd encourage you to visit them. And then perhaps there are some, with the information that you've actually learned from today, you would be able to talk to your internal colleagues about where these services could potentially benefit you. And of course, reach out to us, your account manager, to me and Marley directly about, some of your requirements. So I'm also very pleased to share that we are in the stage of actually closing our very first MSP deal, and it actually boils down to having that discussion with you guys about what your requirements are, and then working with you to tailor the best and most appropriate solution for you in terms of these three MSP services. So please, I would encourage you to um, um, get started on this, and then let us know. Keep in touch with us, and then we'll provide you with some further information. Okay. So with that said, we'll do the Q&A. So are there any questions right now on the floor?
Yeah, so I can see there is one question regarding the question is, do you or SolarWinds offer a cloud managed solution? Which is a great question. Like I said, we already talked about the fact that lots of people are moving their stuff over to the cloud.
Mhm.
It's a general good place to go. So SolarWinds Orion has had support for being installed in the cloud for a long time. You can install it if you have Azure or AWS, or you have VMs running on there. You can install SolarWinds on there and have it living in the cloud. That also means you can use things like the managed DB instances from any of those providers.
Mhm.
Um, and along with our obviously managed service system going forward, it's going to allow you to essentially have that managed system. SolarWinds does have some sort of software as a service options that do live in the cloud. But generally, we recommend possibly leveraging them with Orion as well. Orion is still, SolarWinds' flagship system there.
Yeah. Thanks, Marty. Are there any more questions from the floor?
Yeah. So I have a question here saying, does it matter what modules you have? Mon, do you want to take that?
Yes. So, as I've said earlier, as part of the requirements understanding or gathering sessions, we will be looking at which particular Orion modules do you have, and then we would be able to provide you with the right, the effort required or time required for us to be able to deliver that service to you on a regular basis. But yes, all the Orion modules are actually part of the this particular service offering.
And then possibly another one for you, Mon, because you have the major knowledge is, what is the average lead time from request to engagement? And I suppose
Okay.
because it's a newer project, we're
Yeah.
still
So
we're still getting
yeah.
that.
Okay. Cool. So in terms of the lead time right now, so because it's also a new service for us, we're envisioning to be able to service a particular um, um, service, start servicing a particular this MSP service with a lead time of 4 to 8 weeks. So, but that really depends on the engagement so far in terms of how soon we, because it depends on how big is your platform, what will be the resources required. Because as what Marley has mentioned, it's not it will be a dedicated MSP teams. So it's a pool of teams that will be working with you, and part of the assessment on how soon we can onboard you would be the resources that would be involved in delivering this particular service to your customers. I hope I answered that question. But as I've said, if I know this is quite, it's a launch, it's a teaser. You probably have a lot of questions still on your mind. So we would encourage you to, reach out, set up a meeting with your account manager, or reach out to me and Marley, and then we can set up a preliminary discussion to talk about. Not talk about just the MSP, what is it all about, but also I think we're a firm believer as a company, Marley, of understanding what the requirements are really, and how we can fit in MSP to their requirements.
Right, exactly. And
That's the
the
critical
biggest thing
point.
for today is that we wanted to get you guys excited for the product going forward, while also trying to avoid death by PowerPoint today. So that's why we tried to make it a little bit more informal,
Yeah.
and we're hoping to do possibly more of these kind of informal
Yes.
kind of chats and knowledge share kind of stuff. I know most of you maybe have joined webinars before, which have been sort of very technical, very much focused on how to do things in SolarWinds. But we want to share, sort of newer goings on in the industry and in the world of SolarWinds as well, that aren't necessarily how to do something specific.
So I think we still have 12 minutes, but if there are any no longer any questions, I'm just gonna be saying that a recording of this webinar will be made available by our YouTube channel, and for those that weren't able to attend, our marketing team will also be sending out a link to the recording of this webinar. And yeah, I think for me it's just really um, thank you for joining me and Marley today to be able to launch our MSP services. I hope we get you excited, but at the same time, we look forward to hearing about your feedback about this new services offering and how we can help you going forward. So, with that being said, Marley, thank you so much for joining me for today. This is not going to be the first one. We'll be doing more with regard to the MSP's session, but yeah, I just
Yeah,
want to
thank you.
say
It's
thank
been
you.
a lot of fun. Like I said, really enjoy chatting about and getting people excited about stuff. So yeah, looking forward to the next one.
And before I forgot, I think I forgot to mention there is a survey or a feedback form at the end of the webinar. So I would really encourage you to please fill out the forms, because your feedback, it would be valuable to us, not just specifically on this webinar, but also on you're very free to provide improvements or recommendations going forward. But otherwise, we will not be taking much of your time today. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next webinar. So
Yeah, thank you,
have a great
everyone.
rest of the day. Thank you. Bye bye.